Welcome everyone. Please give me your blessings so that we can study further more into Bhagavad-Gita introduction today, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-Gita. Before we start with an invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing with our Bhagavad Gita study, introduction. We are on the page 11, I understand. Starting 7? No, yesterday the speaker finished until 11. So I'm starting with what is this consciousness? What is this consciousness? This consciousness is I am. So you can take a Bhagavad Gita from there. What is this consciousness? So I read until Parandvishtva Nivatante and then we will have a discussion. What is this consciousness? This consciousness is I am. Then what I am? In contaminated consciousness, this consciousness is I am. I am the Lord of all I survive, and I am the enjoyer. The world revolves because every living being thinks that he is the Lord and creator of the material world. Material consciousness has two psychic divisions. One is that I am the creator, and other is that I am the enjoyer. But actually, the Supreme Lord is both the creator and the enjoyer, and the living being, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is neither the creator nor the enjoyer, but a co-operator. He is created and the enjoyed. For instance, a part of machine cooperates with the whole machine. A part of the body cooperates with the whole body. The hands, legs, eyes, and so on are all parts of the body, but they are not actually the enjoyers. The stomach is the enjoyer. The legs move, the hands supply the food. The teeth chew, and all other parts are engaged in satisfying the stomach, because stomach is the principal factor that nourishes the body's organization. Therefore, everything is given to the stomach. One nourishes the tree by watering its root, and one nourishes the body by feeding the stomach. For if the body is to be kept in a healthy state, then the parts of the body must cooperate to feed the stomach. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer and then the creator, as we as the subordinate living beings are meant to cooperate to satisfy him. This cooperation will actually help us, just as food taken by the stomach will help all other parts of the body. If the fingers of the hand think that they should take the food themselves instead of giving it to the stomach, then they will be frustrated. The central figure of the creation and of the enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, and the living entities are cooperators. By cooperation, they enjoy. The relation is also like that of the master and the servant. If the master is fully satisfied, then the servant is satisfied. Similarly, the Supreme Lord should be satisfied. Although the tendency to become the creator and the tendency to enjoy material world are there also in the living entities, because these tendencies are there in the Supreme Lord, who has created the manifested cosmic world. We shall therefore in this Bhagavad Gita that the complete whole is comprised of the Supreme Controller, the controlled living entities, the cosmic manifestation, the eternal time and karma, or the activities, and all these are explained in this text. All of these taken completely form the complete whole, and the complete whole is called Supreme Absolute Truth. The complete whole and the complete absolute truth are the complete personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All manifestations are due to his different energies. He is the complete whole. It is also explained in the Gita that impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Brahman is more explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra to be like the rays of the sunshine. The impersonal Brahman is the shining rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman is incomplete realization of the Absolute Whole, and so also is the conception of Paramatma. In the 15th chapter, it shall be seen that the Supreme Lord of Godhead Purushottama is above both impersonal Brahman and the partial realization of Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Satchitananda Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita begins in this way. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Govinda, Krishna, is the cause of all causes. He is the primeval cause and he is the very form of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat, eternity feature. Paramatma realization is the realization of Sat Chit, eternal knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the realization of all transcendental features, Sat Chit Ananda, eternity, knowledge and bliss, in complete Vigraha form. People with less intelligence consider the Supreme Truth to be impersonal, but he is the transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. As we all are individual living beings and have our individuality, the Supreme Absolute Truth is also, in its ultimate issue, a person. The realization of the personality of God, that is realization of all, the transcendental feature in his complete form. The complete whole is not formless. If he is formless or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience, otherwise it cannot be complete. The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies. Parashreya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad-Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself, because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation, according to Sankhya philosophy, are completely adjusted to produce complete resources, which are necessary for the maintenance and sustenance of this universe. There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the Supreme Whole, and when its time is complete, these temporary manifestations will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. There is a complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities, to realize the complete, and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. So Bhagavad-Gita contains the complete knowledge of the Vedic wisdom. All Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunction, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunction. And indeed, by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by the modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes, and Bhagavad-Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge, which comes down as it's stated in Bhagavad-Gita by parampara, disciplic succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the Supreme Spiritual Master, the Lord Himself, and handed down to succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he has without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad-Gita and not other. We must accept Bhagavad-Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of the Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord Himself. The words spoken by the Lord are Apaurushesha. Meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of mundane world who is infected with 4 defects. A mundaner is sure to commit mistakes, is invariably illusion, has the tendency to cheat others, and is limited by imperfect senses. With these four imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge. Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted onto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is only proprietor of everything in the universe, and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Prapitamaha, because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad-Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relationships or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brother-in-laws, grandfathers, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad-Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view, and at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishe vacham tva, I shall act according to your word. In this world, men are not meant for quarreling like cats and dogs. Men must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like ordinary animals. A human being should realize the aim of his life, and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures. The aim of his life and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in the Bhagavad-Gita. Vedic literatures is meant for human beings, not for the animals. Animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sin on their part. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for breaking the laws of nature. In the Bhagavad-Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to different modes of nature: the activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are three kinds of eatables also: eatables in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All of this is clearly described, and if we properly utilize the instructions of Bhagavad-Gita, then our whole life will become purified, and ultimately we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky. Yat katva na nivattante tad dhamam paramam mama. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Shri Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Haripre. Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. So today we have quite a few things that Prabhupada was mentioning in these 2 pages, 3 pages actually. So Prabhupada was beginning with the consciousness, and then he went to explaining what is Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and how finally Bhagavan realization is the topmost. And then he's giving various examples how Krishna is the complete whole. And then how he's also establishing how Vedic knowledge is infallible and it's not the matter of the modern research. So he was stating different examples. And then he was talking about the 4 defects of the human beings and how they are not capable of delivering the message as it is. And what is the importance of accepting parampara system. And then finally, Prabhupada is concluding what does it mean to take instructions from Bhagavad-Gita. So we go one by one. So when we start talking about the consciousness, so first of all, let me ask you a question. What is consciousness? Can anyone say what is consciousness? What do they understand from the word consciousness means?
We are conscious of everything, whatever is happening.
But what does the term consciousness itself mean?
It means that we should be conscious of everything, whatever we are doing.
Okay. Any more?
Consciousness, we can see from our eyes, at least we can listen from here, at least we
Yeah.
can feel skin touch, etc.
Yes, yes.
This all is based on consciousness, at least.
Hmm.
There is consciousness.
Yes.
Consciousness of the thought, at least Krishna thoughts.
Hmm. Thank you.
Consciousness means you are aware of your behavior or what you're doing, what you're acting, how you're doing. You can reflect. You have shame feelings. You have all type of feelings. We think about it.
Mm-hmm.
We are able to think about it, which animals can.
Okay.
Consciousness.
Any more?
Having the
Yes.
enlivens the body.
Sorry, consciousness
Enlivens the body.
enlivens the body. Yes. Yes.
Having completely surrendered to particular object.
That is consciousness. Yes, Mataji. Yes, yes. So I was actually looking for this particular answer, although everyone has, it is right. Consciousness means it's the symptom of the life. This is what Prabhupada says. So, and then this, how do we know that someone is alive or dead? Because they have the consciousness. So, sir.
No, I asked him to put a bit louder, but he said no.
It's okay. Otherwise, the humming sound will come.
So the consciousness means it's the symptom of life. This is how Prabhupada describes. How do we know that someone is alive? Because they have these life symptoms. So how everyone is saying that we have to be conscious of everything around. So when we have these life symptoms, obviously we become conscious of the things around, and then we sense to have this sense of seeing, sense of touch, sense of feeling, sense of thinking. So it is all manifested. But what is the problem with this consciousness? Here, consciousness, Prabhupada is saying, this consciousness is I am. So what is I am here is I am means I am the Lord of all, I survive, and I am the enjoyer. This is a contaminated consciousness. But what is a pure consciousness? Still I am existing, I am there, but I am the part and parcel of Krishna. This is a pure consciousness. So in both the contaminated consciousness and in pure consciousness, there is the existence of I am. The identity is not changing. But what is changing is how you're relating to yourself. As an enjoyer, as a controller, or as a cooperator, as how Prabhupada is explaining here. He was listing so many different examples to make us understand this point that we are not the enjoyer, we are not the sole enjoyer, or solely we are not the controller. But we are the cooperators. By cooperating, we will actually enjoy. We will also have this little controlling tendencies. So some of the examples Prabhupada was giving, how the nuts and bolts of a machine. So they have their individual identity. But unless and until they are with the machine, they don't have any value. Or we take the parts of the body. The body parts are important. But if they want to go on strike and they said that why I have to feed the stomach, I don't want to feed the stomach. I am working hard. The hand might say that, I'm working every day hard. I'm not taking the food into the hand, but I'm giving all the food to the stomach, and stomach is actually enjoying. But actually, when you supply the food to the stomach, the energy is supplied to the hand. So when we divide and rule, saying that, I don't want to cooperate with the complete whole, then the problem of dissatisfaction comes. Why in this world we are affected with dissatisfaction? Because we are conscious beings, we are I am, and we have an identity. So, but why we still feel a dissatisfaction? Why? By nature, we are Ananda Maya Bhyasat. That means we always want to be happy. But still, from time to time, we are always striving to become happy, but we are not becoming happy. Because there is, this cooperation is missing. So Prabhupada gives another example how if we water the root of the tree, everything else will be nourished. The branches, the leaves, the twigs, the flowers, the fruits, everything else will be nourished. So where is this wrong concept of I am the enjoyer, I am the controller is coming? It is downloaded into our system from the very childhood. This is how we are raised, because we lack the proper understanding. So everyone says, from the beginning of our childhood, certain kinds of goals are downloaded into us. Certain patterns of living style is downloaded into us. So we start identifying only with psychology or physiology of our life. So when we are misidentifying, we don't know how we can identify as a part and parcel of God, because this information was missing, right? And then what happens? Then we are looking for happiness only in the pursuits of psychological or physiological attempts. But when we come back to Krishna consciousness, when we understand we are the servant of Krishna, then we identify ourselves as Krishna's servant, and then we are connected to Krishna because we are also spiritual. Because Aham Brahmasmi, that means I am the spirit soul. But that doesn't end there. I am the spirit soul and also part and parcel of Krishna. When I am connected to Krishna, the whole mechanism starts working properly. And automatically our needs for being happy and satisfaction comes to us. So Prabhupada is saying that we are always flickering between happiness and renunciation, bhog and tyag. So Prabhupada gives an example of a businessman. He works so hard for a week. 5 days a week he's working. And after 5 days he's thinking that maybe I need a change. So on a weekend he goes for a change. Then he enjoys to the extreme. And then he thinks that, no, I enjoyed so much. Now I have to renounce this. So let me go back to work. So we all have this tendency to move like a pendulum in the bhog and tyag. But how can this be stopped? Like not to be afflicted with too much happiness or with artificial renunciation. Is to come back and connect with Krishna properly. So here Bhagavad-Gita is taking us to a connection to the Lord. And this is called yoga. Yoga means to link. But what are we linking to and who are we linking to? So Bhagavad-Gita is taking through different aspects how to link to Krishna and how we can channelize our linking to Krishna. So Krishna is also telling that unless you have the higher taste, you won't be able to give out this lower taste. So unless we are able to reach out to spiritual consciousness, we won't be able to give up this material consciousness. So Krishna says, Parandvishva nivartante. So that means we have to raise to spiritual consciousness. So for that, he has designed this bhakti-yoga system. The yoga system where we are able to connect with Lord and we have this devotional mood and service. This is nothing but bhakti. That's why bhakti-yoga. So Bhagavad-Gita is primarily focusing only on the bhakti-yoga, and the essence of whole Bhagavad-Gita study is to understand that we have to link with Krishna. And in the previous classes of discussion, we heard about the 5 important 5 subject matters of Bhagavad-Gita: Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, and Karma. Out of the 5, 4 are permanent and 1 is temporary. The karma is temporary, but the rest 4 are permanent. But again, they are manifested and unmanifested. The Prakriti is manifested and unmanifested according to the, according to the time. But it is always there. So here we are also studying, Gita is also explaining not only these 5 subject matters, but it is also allowing us to understand different levels of realization of complete truth, absolute truth. That is Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and finally leading us to Bhagavan realization. So one may ask a question, okay, there are different realizations, but why I have to accept Krishna as a complete whole or a complete absolute truth? Why not just I take a Brahman realization as complete or Paramatma realization as complete? So Prabhupada gives an example of what is Brahman realization. In the Brahman realization, someone sees a hill from a very far distance, and it appears like a smoky cloud. So they don't understand that is actually a hill. They see that is just as a smoky cloud. And then they just understand, oh, if I go there, that is smoky cloud, and that's it. If I go there, there's nothing else. So of course, they don't have any taste for the material lower nature. They're seeking out for the higher spiritual nature. But because they cannot understand the variegatedness that is present in the spiritual, they just see and they understand that it's only smoky cloud and I have just to appreciate what it is. So, and then what is the problem being just at the level of Brahman realization? So, an impersonalist, say an example, who doesn't identify or who doesn't appreciate the Lord. And we'll take an example of a devotee. They both are given some food, nice preparations of food. And the impersonalist, he thinks that, oh, this is food, I cannot enjoy. So he artificially renounces it. He's stopping his heart. Although he wants to enjoy, he's stopping, I don't want to enjoy this. But a devotee is also thinking, I cannot enjoy this food, but my Lord can enjoy. So let me offer this food to Krishna. And then he offers it to Krishna and he enjoys the prasadam. So he is not stopping his enjoyment tendency, but he is doing in the right way. He is offering what belongs to the Lord and then he is taking as prasad. Whereas an impersonalist, he wants to enjoy, but he doesn't know the way to enjoy. So Prabhupada also says another example. What is the state of an impersonalist? It's like you board into a flight and it's a long time flight, long hour flight. But at one point you have to board from the flight back. So that is the problem. And because they don't, because of this artificial renunciation, there is a small agitation in their mind. So that's why they fall back. That's why Brahman realization is not complete in itself. But it's the effulgent rays of Krishna. So we have to connect this to the Supreme Lord. Then we go to, that's why devotees are also not interested in Sayuja Mukti. Sayuja Mukti means merging into the Lord, merging into the Brahman. Because they understand, if I go there, I don't have any activities that I can do any kind of service to the Lord. So I don't need this Brahman realization. I don't need this Brahman merging. I don't need this merging into the Brahman. But they have Brahman realization. How? They understand Aham Brahmasmi. I am also part of the Brahman. I am the spirit soul and part of the Lord. And Krishna here says, impersonal Brahman is Brahmanoi Pratishtaham. That means I am the source of this Brahman. So Krishna is giving an evidence that whatever you're considering Brahman is also, I am the source of it. And then we will discuss a little bit about Paramatma realization. Before we go to Paramatma realization, sorry, I just remember one example. Recently I was telling a person about some book, and then I was talking about some material problems, and then I was telling them, you know, we have these problems in our life, and then we have higher solutions. You please take this book. And then he was like, yeah, but the highest is to have mukti, to be liberated and to merge into the Lord. And I asked him, if you have to be merging into the Lord, why did you visit the temple and seeing these beautiful forms of Krishna? And he had no answer. And that made me think, actually, we have a little understanding of everything, but we really don't go deeper and understand why it is present and how we have to use for our existence. But Prabhupada, everything he explains very clearly. What is Brahman realization, how we have to connect it to it. What is Paramatma realization, how we have to relate to it. And how is Bhagavan realization, how we have to approach Bhagavan. So he's taking us to that path. So I felt very grateful, oh, this person actually contributed something to me. So, and then we go to Paramatma realization. Now, how does Krishna explain he's existing as Paramatma? In 15:15, Krishna is telling, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. He's seated in everyone's heart. And again in Bhagavad-Gita 18:61, Krishna is saying, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridaya Deshe Arjuna Tishtati Brahmaneya Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rodami Mayaya. Again, he's saying that I am seated in everyone's heart. And I'm directing the wanderings of all the jivas. And again, in Brahma Samhita, how it is explained? Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham. So Krishna is present in every atom, in every living entity. He's pervading as a super soul in all the universe, in the whole of the creation. As a Kshirodakshayaka Vishnu, he is the super soul of all living entities. As a Garbhodakshayaka Vishnu, he is the aggregate of super soul of all the universes. And as a Mahavishnu, who is lying on the Karna ocean, he is the cause of the original cause of the whole cosmic manifestation. But again, all these three Purusha avatars, all these Vishnus, are plenary portions of Krishna. They are not even complete. Yeah. But the yogis are striving to have this realization of the Paramatma. So we also need to start appreciating the super soul in everyone's heart. When we consider there is super soul in everyone's heart, our dealings with the people, other living entities changes. Here in the last purport, how Prabhupada was saying, the people, they kill each other, and the animals kill each other because they don't have this knowledge. But as a living entity, as a human being of a higher platform, you should not be doing so. But when we start understanding, okay, there is Paramatma feature, there is the soul and the super soul, then we automatically develop this respect. So Prabhupada writes that we have to consider everyone as a temple of Lord. Then we develop a lot of respect. So for Brahman realization, then we are understanding how we are related to the Lord. And then as a Paramatma realization, with the Paramatma realization understanding, we will be able to give respect to other living entities. But on a whole, but when we come to Bhagavan realization, where Krishna is Krishnastu Swayam Bhagavan, and Krishna is the cause of all causes. So in the Adi Leela 2.10 cc, Prabhupada writes, he explains what does Bhagavan means. Bhagavan, the word is split out. Bha means sustainer and protector. Ga means leader, pusher, and creator. Va means dwelling. All living beings dwell in the Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord dwells in the hearts of every living beings. So when we combine all these aspects together, the Bhagavan carries the import of inconceivable potencies to protect the living entity. So unless and until someone has these qualities, they cannot compare or they cannot call them as Bhagavan. So without such inconceivable potencies, one cannot fully sustain or protect another living entity. So that's why Krishna is when we call him as Swayam Bhagavan, we have to understand that he has all these nature. And then what is in Shastric evidence in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it said, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yagnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabhyate. So the learned transcendentalist called this non-dual substance has three features of understanding. The Brahman realization, the Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So every jiva will be transcending from one to the another to the other. But the beauty of Bhagavad-Gita is, although Krishna is explaining about all the three realizations, he's finally asking us to surrender to him because this is complete and it's the fast, quick process. And also, here we are talking about how the Vedic scriptures are the infallible source for giving us the evidence to accept Krishna. So what is one example that what is one verse that quoted by Vyasadeva is Chete hams kala pumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam indriyari vyakulam mridiyanti yuge yuge. So all the incarnations of Godhead, either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions, they all are parts of the Purusha avatars and they all are present in Krishna. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishnastu Swayam Bhagavan. And then he protects the world through his different features from time to time from the enemies of the Lord. So this is the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Vyasadeva is quoting, establishing how Krishna is the complete whole. Krishna is this Swayam Bhagavan. And also in Srimad Bhagavatam, where we discuss the 10 subject matters. So you might be knowing, Atra Sargo Visargasta Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manuvantare Ishanukhata Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. So finally there is Ashraya, which is the shelter. Sarga refers to the creation of the material manifestation. Visarga is the subcreation. And Sthanam is positioning of the planetary systems. And Poshanam is the protection of those devotees by the Lord. And then impetus, Utayaha, is the impetus of that activity. And then everyone is impelled to do some work, right? Based on their work, they are placed into particular position. And then there is the description of incarnations during different Manvantaras. And then winding of the creation, which is Nirodha, Muktir, the ultimate liberation. But our understanding of liberation, many people have their understanding of liberation means just to merge. But here liberation doesn't mean just to merge. Liberation here means to come to the actual constitutional position of us with the Lord and giving up this subtle and gross body. But all these 9 aspects are attributing to one particular concept that is called Ashraya, which is, who is the Ashraya of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Is Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all the great Mahajans, whether directly or indirectly, in their explanations and in these prayers, they are using these 10 aspects and attributing to Sri Krishna because he is the ultimate Ashraya. So in this way also we understand Krishna is the complete whole. So, and then in Ishopanishad there is a first invocation mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnam Eva Vasishyati. So, the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because He is completely perfect, all the emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself, because He is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. So here again, Prabhupada is describing in the introduction how everything that is in this material world is complete because it's coming from this complete whole, Krishna. And because it has this, it is coming from Krishna, it has this completeness. Even this material world, although it is a Shashvata Dukhalayam, but it's completely equipped and it has made habitable for the living entities. And also there is a time for creation, there is a time for annihilation, there is a time for winding up. And another example, how this material universe is also complete. An example is Gajendra, when he was playing the sports in the Trikuta mountain in the near the Milk Ocean. The Milk Ocean was touching the shores, and because the Milk Ocean is touching the shores, it's producing valuable emeralds. So that how it is complete. And even we hear the descriptions of Vrindavana, how we are not able to perceive, but actually Vrindavana is embedded with jewels. So it is complete. It's just that we don't have this complete connection with Him. But Prabhupada is saying that we can still have this complete connection when we are connected, when these small units are also having this connection by bhakti-yoga process. They can experience this completeness. Although we are small, we can feel this completeness. And Vedic knowledge is infallible, and it's not the part of the modern research. And what are the examples? You see, here Prabhupada is explaining about the cow dung. And the cow dung, it is, although it is a stool, it is pure because it is the injunction of the Vedic Shastras. And why Vedic Shastras has to be taken as it is? Because it is above the 4 defects, what the conditioned soul would have. Like it is above the mistakes, illusions, cheating propensities, and defective perception. Why? Because this Vedic knowledge is given by the Lord Himself, plus it is spoken by the Mahajans and written by great Vyasadeva. In his complete realization, in his perfect realization, he has given Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavad-Gita is the words of Krishna. That's why they are infallible. They cannot have any mistake. And what we don't find in the modern research are also found in the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. How are the living entities placed in different planetary systems based on their karma? And how are they having different propensities based on what they have because of their previous impressions? Because of the Daiva Netrena, because under the supervision of the Lord, one receives a body, one receives a state of consciousness, and one receives a particular position. But again, this all can be changed. The karma can be changed by linking us to the right consciousness by the bhakti-yoga. So what does it mean that we are taking instructions from Bhagavad-Gita? So that means this human form of life is very valuable. How valuable it is it is one of 8.6 million species of life. It is one such life where we can have discussions like this about the absolute truth, about reviving our consciousness back to Krishna. Only in this lifetime we can ask these questions. And here we will be able to realize how I can become complete, how I can go beyond my physiology and psychology. But here there is a quote given, like a condition given. One has to work according to his quota. That means there are certain rules and regulations are also applied which are not a restriction, but they are a boundary to protect us. So this doesn't mean that, human beings should go to primitive life, leading primitive lives. No, but we are reserving this human energy for a higher purpose. So even though we find so many rules and regulations that will be coming in the further chapters of Bhagavad-Gita, it is all to help us to reserve this human energy for the highest purpose, to ultimately surrender to Krishna. And then Prabhupada also says, religion without philosophy is a sentiment, and philosophy without religion is a mental speculation. So when we are following bhakti-yoga, we just no need to follow just on a ritualistic basis. We have to understand the philosophy. That's why Prabhupada has taken so much pain to produce these books. And if we have just philosophy, but we don't have this worship of the Supreme Lord, then it becomes a mental speculation. So he wanted us to have a balance between the religion and the philosophy. And then it gives a complete attribute for our lifestyle. And then this morning in the Prabhupada quote, I read this one. Many fanatic spiritual movements have come and gone, but without a flawless philosophy of Krishna, they cannot stand. So without, and we have to understand, whatever Krishna has given is flawless. And whatever Prabhupada has given is also flawless. So it's our aspiration, I can say, that we study Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we help others to also to take up to this process of Krishna consciousness. So I close here if there are any questions or comments or corrections. Sorry.
You are speaking about animals and this one, they don't have intelligence and this one. And when we see the Prabhupada has given example, this one man's food is another man's death.
Yes.
So Prabhupada gave the example of cat and rats. And also there are many examples we can see. And Prabhupada said if anybody like to eat non-veg, they can offer it to goddess Kali.
Mm-hmm.
And many of these people, they like to eat, so they offer to goddess Kali and take this one. And actually whatever also we are eating vegetables and this one, they are also being killed.
Mm-hmm.
But when we offer to Krishna, whatever the sins are committed, the sins are forgiven to us.
Yes.
And whenever who is killing the animal, Prabhupada said he has to speak the mantra that in this life I am killing you, in next life you have to kill me. This type of mantra you have to speak.
Yes, speak it, yes.
So this Prabhupada has given this example so that we can understand that we are here, that many people counteract the questions that you are eating vegetables, they are also have the lives and how you people are doing. Then we explain that Prabhupada has given this example. When these things are there, we first offer to Krishna, and when anything we offer to Krishna, they purify. But in Shastra is not mentioned that you offer meat to Krishna or this one anything. So for that one it's mentioned that you offer this meat and this one to Kali, and that they should offer this one Kali, and then that can get purification. But whatever they are eating, they have to have the sins for that one, who is killing this one. So Prabhupada has given this example. So we should understand that whatever also we are doing, we are also committing sins. But when we offer to Krishna, then Krishna purifies and gives us, and so that becomes Prasad, Mahaprasad to us. And when we take Mahaprasad, automatically Prabhupada's the Prasad will react. And it's reacting on our self. We see that before in karmic life, whatever we were eating, we are completely eating the sins.
Mm-hmm.
But But now whatever we are taking prasadam, that is purified by Lord and given to us. So this understanding also we should have, that when we are maintaining this, we have to maintain the body, we have to take something. So whatever we are
course.
taking, it is offered to Krishna and we take. Whatever, even the milk we take also we offer to the Lord and we take. Because everything that there are sins. To contract these sins that we have to purify, we have to offer to the Lord. These things we should always put in our mind, that we have to maintain the body. For maintaining the body, we have to do so many things, and whatever we are doing, anything we do, we should offer.
Any more questions or comments? So we end here. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita study. Yes, Mataji? Yes, yes.